Hey folks, it's Ray with Taste Radio. Right now, I am honored to be sitting down with Adams Berzins of Ingredion. Adams, great to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, you and I had an opportunity to sit down in Chicago at our meetup a few weeks back, and I loved hearing about what you do and how Ingredion is supporting innovation strategies for food and beverage companies. Just for some context, talk a bit about your background and your work with the company.
Yeah, it was a great event, and appreciated the opportunity to speak in front of so many great entrepreneurs and business folk. Yeah, I've been in the sugar reduction space for really the majority of my career. I've been in the food industry for about 20 years. Started out in flavors, sort of with a company out of Philadelphia, and then have been with Ingredion for the last 15 years, really focusing on not just next generation sweetness solutions, but also really the practical application of using the tools that we have and trying to, build that innovation to solve problems for customers. I'm really fortunate to have had the opportunity to build a lot of that. I mean, myself as a person in my day, my day to day life, I'm a creative. I do ceramics. I work, really try to build things, and I'm able to really bridge those pieces um, of my creative life with my science life that helps, find those innovative pathways. And, working for a company like Ingredion that sort of leads the way in sugar reduction innovation, gives me a lot of, fun tools to play with, paints for the palette, so to speak, to build those solutions for people.
Yeah, I mean, modern brands are seeing a pretty big shift in how consumers perceive taste, sweetness, nutrition. Seems like modern consumers are pretty aware of certain ingredients like stevia and monk fruit, erythritol that they just hadn't been maybe 10 years ago. And it is definitely factoring into their purchasing decisions. So when you talk about the problems that modern brands and entrepreneurs are facing, how are you addressing them at the ingredient level? How are you helping them formulate products that speak to and taste delicious for that modern consumer?
I mean, I think when we approach those challenges, I like to think of kind of three buckets that you need to be aware of, right? And taste is number one, right? It has to taste good. People have to recognize and feel good about that taste. It has to be cost effective, right? Both for the producer and for the consumer, right? Like you can have the greatest tasting sweetener solution that replaces sugar 100%, but if now your beverage is $12 and everybody else in your category is 3, that's a problem, right? And then the sort of ethics and sustainability is super important as well. And so trying to build along those pillars, is how we start. And when we focus on taste, and just over the last 2 years, we executed a global study to understand consumer preferences, really, especially around sweetness and the tools that we can use to replace sugar to make products more healthful and more appealing for customers. And what we found is a really interesting shift in that consumers in general are looking for a lower sweetness than they used to. Right. I mean, your traditional carbonated soft drink companies have a very expected kind of high sweet taste. What we're seeing, especially in a lot of the new launches in the last 2 3 years, are like a 20-30% drop in what that max sweetness is. And so that's a really good thing for human health, because people are not craving higher sweetness, but also allows really a new differentiated way of providing that sweetness. And then the second interesting thing is what we've seen is this evolution in what consumers expect. There are entire segments of the population that are generationally expecting what is a traditional diet or a zero sugar taste profile, right? Being a sweetener researcher, being in the sweetener space for as long as I've been, the assumption had sort of always been, well, ultimately everybody wants it to taste like sugar, right? That's a sort of a fair assumption. But what the data bears out in our study, and we've seen it in other places, not just our work, is that no, there are very much consumers that when they look for their product, they are used to the taste of your traditional high potency sweeteners, and those are typically artificials, right? Aspartame,
Hmm.
sucralose, ACK, things like that. So when we're trying to meet those taste needs for consumers, and especially because these savvy and fast moving brands and consumers are already looking for healthier. So they're probably moving to they want to go from an artificial to a tool that meets their natural, ethical sourcing, but also great tasting. And very aware that that's been a big challenge in the last 10 years with the evolution of stevia based sweeteners, right? The work I do day to day is going to brands and our customers and having to re-educate folks on what the potential is in plant-based sweetness, because they all tasted stevia 10 years ago and are like, oh, it's bitter, it lingers, it's green, it has all these notes, I don't like it. And they've literally never come back, right? It has sort of poisoned the well in their desire for plant-based sweetness. But there's been an evolution in stevia-based sweetness, and understanding we've gone from kind of a position where we cared about 9 to 10 molecules from the stevia leaf. There's now over 100 that we know of, and ones that we focused on before still have their place, but we've really shifted to better tasting ones. And the modern day stevia tools are worlds away from what people have associated with in the past. One of the other great pieces of Ingredion is I get to focus on sugar reduction, but as a company, we have, innovations in texture and fruits and vegetables and proteins and things like that. So when a customer is looking for sugar reduction, they're probably also looking to clean up other parts of it, right? And so, if you want to have higher plant-based protein in there, but you're worried about the taste, the tools exist to do that. Or you need to suspend something, we have the expertise to, make sure you don't get that, a layer of sludge at the bottom because your all your additives, your actives have fallen out, right? Like, it's all about that eating experience. And so that expertise that I get to be a part of is really exciting, but also a great opportunity for brands big and small to, get a solution that speeds them to market. And a little bit around stevia in general, right? I mean, Ingredion has made very conscious positions to work with only third-party auditable farmers. We're fully contracted. We invest in our communities where we grow. There are challenges in the labor world when it comes to growing things in China specifically. And we're really one of the only suppliers that works with third party auditors on our life cycle assessments to be able to stand tall in how ethically we source our material. Right. And I think that's super critical. And I think brands, especially really mission driven companies, where you're getting your products matters. Right. And I think we all understood, we all saw a lot of challenges in the supply chain world in the last 5, 6 years for various reasons. And, feeling good about the people you're doing business with helps you feel good about what your finished product is. Right. And I think that's something that we strive for. And I try to live when I, work with customers. So it's just a sort of the journey from front to back in what we get to do.
Adams, you make my job so easy because you answer all the questions I was about to ask before I even ask them. So kudos to you on that front. But one question that I'd still have to ask is about how to get in touch with you and your team at Ingredion. What's the best way to do so? Let's say I'm an entrepreneur who's just getting started and listen to this interview and they're like, hey, I love what I'm hearing. Who do I talk to? What's the best way to get in touch with your team?
Sure. I mean, there's a multiple ways. I mean, Ingredion.com, the website, it's a great place, right? You can access a lot of information about our tools, our ingredients. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to be the conduit for folks and brands. We have just a great network of folks across the world. My email, I'm sure we can tag that somewhere, right? It's first last name at Ingredion.com. We're easy to find. The website's the easiest place, and there are portals to get in touch. We also have, and especially for this, for the audience here, we have a program called Catalyst that is a sort of end-to-end innovation support service where we work with entrepreneurs to provide product development services in a way that's more rapid than Ingredion is a big company. We understand that there are challenges, especially if you're just starting out, to get attention from somebody like Ingredion. And so we've specifically created the Catalyst program as something that gives people an opportunity to really work with a big global innovation company like you're working with a small consultant and get that personal attention. And so, reaching out via email, LinkedIn, and I think we can provide some other links as well that people can click and connect and shout out to us. We're happy to help. And we have labs all over the world. In the U.S. we have 5 different innovation labs across the country. So no matter where you're innovating, you can have a partner that's there to help, and a network of teams to help you.
Well, I don't know why your first call wouldn't be to Ingredion based on everything I'm hearing. So, Adams, thank you so much for sharing so much information and great information about the industry, how it's evolving, and how Ingredion can help both early stage brands and ones that are a bit more established on meeting the needs of their consumers and beyond. So, really appreciate the time, and let's definitely stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ray. I appreciate it.